Back in the garage, got the Mercedes wagon, OM617, of course, with more stuff going on. So noticing that something's going on with the fuel situation. I'm noticing that it's like bleeding down fuel pressure after it sits for a while. So I gotta crank it a bunch. It finally starts and then it'll stall right away. It won't stay running unless I hold like quarter throttle. It never did that ever. So I know something's going on. I thought it was injectors, pulled the injectors, rebuilt them again for the second time. That did not fix the problem at all. And so I did some research and it's looking like the lift pump. So never did anything with the lift pump in this car. If you're not familiar, this is the OM617. This is the 5-cylinder turbo diesel, but I think it's the same naturally aspirated or the 4-cylinder. This is your injection pump where all your injector lines go in, and on the side of that down here the 2 lines going in for the this is your primer pump, and then which it is working a little bit, but anyway, the lift pump gets connected, bolts to the injection pump. So that's what you're looking for right there. The fuel hose is in the way. Long-time viewers here, I went to the salvage yard and I got an injection pump off of a 1983 300 CD, and this is the lift pump on the side of the injection pump right here. So this all came as one unit. I think I paid maybe $30 to $50 for this whole unit. I don't know if it works obviously, but that's okay. I got a good core. So I'm gonna pull this pump off. It looks like there's 3 nuts to pull this pump off. And I'm gonna attempt to rebuild that one first, see how that goes, and then take that one off and learn off of rebuilding that other one. I'll have a good rebuilt core and I'll take that one off and rebuild that. So I did get 2 rebuild kits for the pumps, and then I got 2 new primer pumps, the Bosch ones, just to get new. You know, this was like $30 a piece and this was like $10 or $15 a piece. So it's really not that expensive when you think about it, the rebuild kit. So I just got them, and hopefully it's everything I need to have a pump rebuilt and sitting on the shelf, and then another pump, and then the pump in the car rebuilt. So let's see how long this takes. If I'm gonna guess, it's gonna be about all day, if not longer. It's how it goes. Never did it. But they're calling for snow squalls. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. The Cattons are outside, and they don't seem to care. Where you at, Cattons? You gotta get on camera. They're gone. So there's studs on here. This is a 10mm. These are 10mm nuts here. Looks like there's lock washers. They were not tight, so that's cool. So let me get these off. There's 3 of them. Let's use the open end. There's the 3rd one on the top. So let me get these off. We'll see how hard this is to pry off. Alright, so I got all 3 of the nuts off of there. Let's see how tight this is. It's probably going to be, oh, not too bad. So I just pried on this way. Probably not the best thing to do, but see how much fuel comes out of this. Okay, this thing's got some weight to her. And then before I even get into this, I'm going to go right over here and I'm going to cover this with something. I don't know what I'm going to use, maybe cardboard. So we have the lift pump chucked up in the vise here. This bearing here is in really good shape, so that's really good. This again is the one off of the car, the salvage yard. Got to pull all these off, so I'm going to pull this one off. Got to pull this off. Got to pull this off. You got to pull everything off. And there's one on the bottom you got to pull off. So I got soft jaws that I have. This is plastics. I did watch one video, Woods and Barclay or something. He has a lot of good videos on this, and he uses an impact. Because he was just torquing it out of the vise. So I might try that initially and hit it with an impact real quick. I only have a 1/4 inch gun, but we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know. And this is a 22mm wrench here, and this one cracked loose, so that's good. It wasn't too bad. This is the one I'm a little bit nervous about. Let's do this together. This is an 1 3/16 socket. It's a chrome socket, but let's see how this goes here. Well, I'd say it worked. Probably could have done that with a wrench. It wasn't too bad. You saw it firsthand, boys and girls. Never done this. Hey Sherman, what do you think about it? Good response. he's all freaked out for the snow squalls. So we got the dinkle flopper hanging out. I'm gonna thread that back on there so it don't fall out. Deal with that later. I can't do it with one hand. Anybody who's never filmed and done stuff like this at the same time, they have no idea. What's up, Sherman? Yep, play with the new parts. Dig at them. Yep, I know you want them opened. So I already found I'm pretty sure an error here. There is a copper crush washer. This is where the primer pump was on the lift pump. This little thing's the primer pump, and this gets threaded in right here like it was, right? Well, when I pulled it off, there is a copper washer, and then it was a doubled up. So I think someone replaced that, and I took a pick, and I took this one out. So there's another copper washer in here. So it was doubled up with copper washers. That's not normally how you do things. I'm gonna put that there. But most likely that someone replaced that or had that off, didn't know there was a washer in there, and put another one in there. So that's no good. So now we gotta get this fuel hose off. Got the fuel hose off, and I threaded off the hardline fuel hose. That was on this side. So now we have to get a non-impact socket, so it's thinner walled, so it fits in this. 3/4 is the same as 19, essentially. See if these crack loose. Not easily. How about this one? Oh, okay, that one went. Let's try this one again. Let's try it this way. I might have to use 2 hands on this one. I'll try it. Ended up using the impact gun to get the other side, but I flipped it upside down in the vise so I can get to this bottom one, and we're gonna see again if we can do it by hand. I always like to do that first before I bring out the impact, and then see if that goes well, and if it does, nope, it's pretty dang tight again. So I'll take the impact and just hit it real lightly. Yep, and it went. See how nice that is? I mean, I try not to go with impact, but certain situations it really makes a difference. So this is the bottom. That's just all frothy with diesel. There's a copper washer there. Man, these are doubled up with copper. So I got your white balance up again just to see if this works better for you on that bright blue towel. So I broke this down, not all the way yet, but I just want to give you an update. This is the main spring with the copper washer. It goes in that large body portion of the body, and then we have the primer pump, which goes in the center here. That's this guy here with the double crush washer, even though most likely isn't supposed to be. This is this guy here. This is this portion of it, and then this one over here is this portion of it, and that had an aluminum crush washer stuck on there. So you gotta really dig for these crush washers. This was on the bottom. This one had its little check valve in there. Oh yeah, here's the little check valve and spring, and that has the check valve and spring on this side. So there's a little check valve and spring with a copper crush washer. To hold all this assembly in, I think there's a pin here, so I gotta see how, or a clip. I'll see how that comes off. And then from there, it's just cleaning it and then putting it back together with the new parts. Okay, next step, I got the piston out, the cylinder wall is in there. This is like the connecting rod, I guess, if you will, except for it just plunges back and forth. And then this would be like, this is the roller rocker kind of a deal that pushes on the push rod for the little piston. And that goes on this side, and then here's that clip that I was talking about. So now there's these little keys to keep it in line that get, I have it oriented exactly how I took it out. But see those keyways? Those keyways, those little wings go in there. Now, from what I'm researching, there's a O-ring that's in the center there. But a new one came with the kit, but I cannot see in there with a bright flashlight. I cannot see where that O-ring would be. I mean, like, I have an idea. It's supposed to separate between the injection pump engine oil and the fuel. Okay, I got the O-ring out. There it is. And it's you access it from the side of the lift pump that goes against the injection pump. It is inside of there, and there's a little lip, you see. I could feel that it was soft in there, so I just kept digging at it with a really fine pick. and I ended up getting it out. It was actually still pliable. It was probably still good shape. But I have new ones here. They got 2 new ones, so I only see 1 in there. I'm only going to put 1 in there, so that's it. I'm pretty sure everything's taken apart. I did actually take apart this a little bit more, and then I got the little roller came off. It's just a pin, falls out. So now I'm going to clean this up and clean it up with some carb cleaner or something, and brush and blow out all the passages and reassemble it with the new springs and parts. Next step is we have everything cleaned up, and we're going to take all of the new parts. I got the body clean. Everything's cleaned up here. I just used carbon choke cleaner, and we're going to take the new parts, and I have the new primer pump there, and let's just match up all the new parts and put them on. So when you assemble the piston, rocker arm, push rod, all that whole assembly, I use transmission fluid, and that's, you know, to lubricate everything. It's just like a little engine. I mean, it's literally the cylinder wall in there and everything. So make sure that's all oiled really well before you put this all together, because it's dry after you have that carb cleaner in there. So I'm just putting all the new O-rings or the crush washers on with the new everything. So it's just putting it all back together here. When you're putting this clip, this C-clip back on, that one, the other one's the new one that came in the kit's a little bit longer, but regardless, when you put that on there, if you look at it, it'll kind of sit out a little bit. You have to push this, you have to push on this, you have to push down on this push rod assembly situation where it pushes against your spring that you have in here, which I already have installed. And when you push that down, right there, see how I just clipped that in? Now it's hard to push that with the spring, but now it's clipped in there so it won't fall out. The kit did not come with new crush washers for the primer pump, nor did the primer pump come with new crush washers for the primer pump. So I'm going to reuse, luckily there was 2 of them on that primer pump, so I'm rebuilding 2 pumps. So if there's none on the pump on the car, I'm going to have to use that one, which is flatter than this one. This one's a little crooked, but it's a crush washer, it'll be fine. So I'm putting all this back together. All this is just hand tight right now. It's all assembled, and I'm just going to torque it all down and then put the primer pump on. So here's the completed product. It's done. I oiled it and threw some fluid film on it just to make sure it doesn't rust. It's totally rebuilt, ready to go in case I need it in the future. And I'll bag it up here and I'll mark what it is, and you know, when I rebuilt it and what it's for and whatever, and put it in a spare parts pile. And it takes that's if you need to swap a pump, it's right there. You know, you don't have to fool around with rebuilding it next time. So I got the car jacked up in the air on jack stands now, because now we got to dive into getting this pump off right here. And I'm gonna cut this zip tie off. And I'll start with the easy stuff that I got on here. Anyway, so we got to get this pump off. This is a hard line that goes up to the injection or to the fuel filter. I'll just take that off up there and just pull that off with it. Finally got the. What are you doing, Sherman? Sherman, what are you doing? What are you doing, Sherman? What do you got going on around here, huh? Are you just taking a cat nap? The other lift pump out of the car finally. It is not that simple. 10mm open end wrench, and you just gotta work it. It's a pain in the butt, but definitely put a drip pan under there. Leaks a lot of oil and fuel. But this is what we got, so we're just gonna do the same thing. Let's disassemble it. I'm not gonna show every step of this one. You already saw the first one, but it's just gonna be the same thing. I'm just checking everything, and I'll show you if anything's alarming. In the process of rebuilding the pump that was actually in the car, it looks pretty good. I didn't reassemble it yet, obviously. I just cleaned all the parts up. They all look pretty good. I mean, there was some, like they used thread sealer or something like that, and it got stuck in the body, but it wasn't much. I mean, here's the piston here. It looks pretty good. I mean, here's the push rod, whatever you want to call it, connecting rod or whatever. These are all the new crush washers and the new valves here ready to go, or the check valves. It was interesting because I got two of these pumps that are the exact same part number. One of them came with this different adapter on the bottom, and I was like, what the heck is that? And then it actually had a crush washer in it too. That just threads off. I just threaded it on the old one here. But that was interesting because luckily I bought two of them. I mean, whatever. It's just weird that they didn't come with the same. They didn't come with the same stuff. This cleaned up nice, real nice. That's like a cadmium or something or nickel plating on there. Looks good. See that in there? That's the cylinder wall. And it feels good in there, smooth. Got this pump rebuilt and I got the gasket on there. I put a little Permatex number 2 gasket sealer on both sides. It helps the gasket stick to the body of the pump. And we're going to put it back in there. I'm not going to show how to put it in there. It's just the reverse. And oh yeah, here's the old gasket. It's a pain in the butt.
How you doing, Tank? Sherman, how you doing? How you doing, Sherman? Huh?
Got the car back on the ground. It took probably 4 hours to do the whole job. So, lift pump is back in. Got my zip tie back on. Haven't tried it yet. Need to prime the system and start it up and check for leaks. So we're gonna prime it right now and see what happens here. Well, that's good. There's movement in the filter. You're supposed to feel like a resistance and like almost like you'll hear a different noise. It's gotta fill the whole entire lift pump again. Oh yeah, I can see it going through this line now. Hear that? That's good. Means it's filled. Let's see if there's any leaks on the bottom of the pump. No diesel on my hands there. Well, not yet. You know how that goes. I mean, obviously it'll have more pressure when I start it, but it's primed. Let's see how well it works. Okay. Let's see how it goes.
How is it, Tank? Too windy for you?
Well, I don't think you could have asked for a better startup than that. Jeez. Let's check for leaks here. Alright, let's see if there's any major leaks. No fuel there. Nothing there. No engine oil. I'd say it's a win. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this thing's, now it was warm, but it was sitting in the warm garage all day, but I'll tell you what. We'll find out tomorrow morning. It's supposed to drop down in the teens. And job is complete. On to the next, as always.